Wolfgang Templin is on his way to church.
The evil design of communist surveillance. Interesting, actually.
Just before he leaves the train, he throws away a piece of paper.
Guys.
Shut up, Min Verstappen, you don't know wheel lil bro, stick to Gamba.
Okay. Guys. Because you guys always say AI, yeah?
Just before he
You guys always say, oh, AI animation. Our animations are made without AI. They've been using the same animation before AI even came out with advanced AI video. Okay, and they haven't changed. This is your fault, man. Yo, chat, say sorry, Fern. Come on, bro. I'm gonna say it. Look, I'm gonna type in chat. Sorry, Fern. Sorry about that. Maybe I said that one time. Sorry about that, man.
leaves the train, he throws away a piece of paper. Seconds later, another man retrieves it. He's an agent of East Germany's notorious secret police, the Stasi. And this is just a tiny piece of a ridiculously large operation to surveil Templin. To the Stasi, he's an enemy of the state. But he's not a Western spy. He's not planning the downfall of the government or an assassination of a socialist leader. His crime is setting up a small group of people who want to discuss human rights in the GDR. The Stasi will set up at least 10 collaborators to follow his every step. They'll wait in front of his house in the morning, follow him to the bakery, sit next to him in a cafe, take the same train, open his mail, read his bank statements, and intercept his phone calls. They'll type their observations into a file on him. It's several Bibles worth of text. They'll infiltrate his friend groups, harass him at home, spread false rumors, pressure his employers to fire him, threaten to take away his kids. They'll even plan to have one of their collaborators start an affair with his wife, just to wreck his marriage. They don't want to put him in jail. That would only make a martyr out of him. They want to break him psychologically, without leaving any trace. The Stasi was arguably the most intrusive and omnipresent surveillance agency the world had yet seen. The ingenuity of their methods is unparalleled. In this video, we will look at all the techniques at the Stasi's disposal, from regular spying all the way to the utter destruction of the victim's psyche. On October 7, 1949, a new country was born. The German Democratic Republic, or East Germany. Under Soviet supervision, the country's socialist government wants to create a paradise for the working class. Obstacles are plenty though. Citizens protest against the one-party dictatorship. Thousands flee the country to the west. Meanwhile, the Soviet Union views East Germany as a fragile experiment, not a trusted ally. Soviet dictator Joseph Stalin is skeptical that a population with such a strong fascist past can be trusted with their own state. East German leaders are desperate to prove that they are loyal and competent. And he is one of them, Erich Mielke. From a rough neighborhood in Berlin, Mielke joined the Communist Party as a teenager during the Weimar Republic. As a young man, he cut his teeth fighting fascists in the street. To prove his loyalty to the party, he even gunned down 2 policemen in broad daylight, as revenge for them killing a communist. With the Nazis on the rise and the murder warrant hanging over him, Mielke fled to the Soviet Union. He would spend World War II
is hilarious. Why is it hilarious?
in exile, eventually working for the Soviet secret police. In Moscow, Mielke got a front-row seat of Stalin at his most paranoid. An approach to politics Mielke would later bring back to East Germany.
I studied that in school.
It takes Mielke just a few years to become the Stasi's chairman. He has big plans. To build a ruthless police force so indispensable to the new regime that nobody could imagine East Germany without it. Or without him. The Stasi is considered the shield and sword of the ruling party, responsible for eliminating so-called hostile elements. And from the Stasi's perspective, there's no lack of threats, swarming all around, but also within the country. At first, the Stasi openly practices violence against perceived enemies and traitors. They don't shy away from explicit terror and executing citizens after sham trials. But blatant oppression turns out not to be great branding for socialism. East Germany wants international credibility as an ideal state, so the Stasi moves towards secrecy and surveillance instead. And this gives birth to the arguably most intrusive and omnipresent surveillance state the world had yet seen. It has been proven that people like Templin are incorrigible enemies of socialism. Anyone who associates with such people must be aware of the consequences. 6 a.m. The observation at the home of Central One started. For Templin, this is a regular day. He leaves the house at 7:30 a.m. He makes a short stop at the bakery. He takes the train to a residential building. He stays there about an hour, then takes the train back home. But someone is following his every step, and everything will be protocoled. In his very own Stasi file, they will give him a code name, Central One. 4:45 p.m. Central One left his home with his bike and a toddler, still with his brown shoulder back. He drove to a church institution. There, he talks to the pastor. And that's it. Not much more happens after that. The agent's 17-hour-long shift ends at 11:35 p.m. At this point, Templin has been under surveillance for 16 years. But the special scrutiny given to him wasn't an outlier. Throughout the 1980s, the Stasi had tens of thousands of ongoing operations on other individuals deemed suspicious. Without context, numbers like that don't tell us much. But data analytics are powerful. And with Brilliant, you can learn about it. Brilliant's also given our viewers 20% off an annual premium subscription, which gives you unlimited access to every layer of society. Mielke even secretly surveilled the country's most powerful man, Chairman Erich Honecker. Mielke kept the most incriminating information in a red pleather suitcase, just in case he'd need it one day. The Stasi had access to everything. Medical records, bank statements, school reports.
Sure, but once they have all of that, what do they even do?
Was what people were thinking behind closed doors. Naturally, this was no easy feat, so they had to get creative. This unassuming building in East Berlin looks like a regular post office. The workers inside wear postal uniforms. They tell their neighbors they just sort mail. But in reality, this is the headquarters of Department M, one of the Stasi's largest operations. Inside, hundreds of Stasi employees spend their days steaming open tens of thousands of letters and recording their contents. They scan and open packages, looking for forbidden items from the capitalist West. If they find money or anything valuable, they'll often keep it for themselves. Here in this other Berlin building is the headquarters of Department 26, responsible for acoustic surveillance. Over 1,000 employees secretly connect to bases like public telephones, apartments of informants, and telephone switchboards, automatically recording thousands of phone and closed-room conversations at once. But they don't actually have the staff to analyze all those conversations. They just keep them in case they need them later. Higher up the Stasi food chain, elite engineers develop more intricate technology. They're known as the OTS. They operate here, in this restricted, highly secured area of East Berlin. Very few people know what's going on, and won't until the Soviet Union collapses. The OTS developed James Bond-like gadgets to observe citizens when they least expect it. Stuff like cameras behind buttonholes or microphones and fake sugar cubes. The tinier, the better. If the Stasi finds someone suspicious, they'll often map out the suspect's entire apartments so technicians can plan exactly where to hide bugs. Then, posing as electricians or maintenance workers, they'll gain access and install microphones in walls, lamps, and ceiling moldings. No corner of East Germany is too sacred for spying. There's bugs in doctors' offices, church confessionals, even private bathrooms. For a while, many would...
Maybe I'm wrong, but guys, doesn't that mean that this is like a... this is like economical, like super left, and then on the other scale, super right? So it's like, what is like... Or up or down, right? It's like up or down. So it's like upright. Oh yeah, upright, yeah. It's like authoritarian right.
Saved their sensitive conversations for ping-pong games in the park. But then the Stasi picked up on that and started bugging the trees. If Stasi agents visit your home, they might also...
It cannot be up left. It can't be. What? No, on the economic scale, it's left, but on the social scale, it's right. No? I'm confused.
take your underwear or fabric from a chair you were sitting on.
Yes, I know it's up. That's why I'm saying. It's why I'm saying. Oh my God, you're missing the point. That's why I said upright. That's why I'm saying upright. No, yeah, I'm right. Exactly. Yeah, I had it right. I don't know.
This would then go into their archive of smells as a scent sample.
You just take the axis and you put
The
it
Stasi
upwards.
keeps an entire library of body odors. Scents, like fingerprints, are unique. They train dogs on the samples to
top
track
left.
down escapees or to prove that suspects had been at crime scenes. Sometimes a Stasi agent has to track a target without yet knowing who it is, or they have to tail someone in a crowd without drawing attention. For that, they have an ingenious trick up their sleeve. This is a quiet, vibrating Geiger counter. A Stasi agent wears it under their coat, the counter under one armpit and a vibrator under the other.
Oh, wait
To find
a
an
minute now.
unidentified dissident or to follow a suspect inconspicuously, the agent just needs to follow the telltale ticking. That's because dissidents are often tagged with radioactive material. The Stasi sprays suspicious cars or rooms and sometimes even individuals directly with a high dose of scandium. Once contaminated, they can be followed
That's
using the hidden
smart as
device.
fuck.
The Stasi is aware that radioactive tagging poses health risks, so they develop special air guns that can spray the substance from a safe enough distance.
Chad, why don't they just do that with cocaine and then get a dog to smell them and go, oh, yo, do you have cocaine? And then set them up and just arrest them then. If they really wanted to get this guy behind bars or stop them, they would fucking, they could easily set him up in some, no?
For themselves. The secret police
Oh, they
is
don't
also
want to arrest
interested
them.
in seeing how West German money circulates, so they spray Deutsche Mark notes. The idea is to retrieve the banknotes and determine who is doing illegal business with
Oh,
enemies.
wow.
By their own calculations, 2 notes in one man's pocket pose such a high risk to male fertility that it comes, in their own words, close to castration.
What?
Later, several East German dissidents will die of rare cancers. It's suspected to be connected to the high rates of radiation exposure, though it's not possible to know for sure.
Dude, that's fucking
But
awful.
the Stasi
if
went
accurate.
even further. Templin is visiting an old friend, Werner Fischer. It's not just a casual hangout though. Fischer's hosting the second gathering of the Peace and Human Rights Initiative. And Templin, who's been interrogated and tailed by the Stasi before, knows the stakes are high. But at least it's just a small group of trustworthy
You're
people
next.
he's known for years. Like Lothar Pavlitzak, a good friend from university. In the evening hours of May 17, 1987, another gathering took place in Fischer's apartment as part of the lecture series on Eastern
Chad, be
Europe
nice, man.
initiated by Templin. The Initiative for Peace and Human Rights is a rare thing in East Germany, an open opposition group formed of diverse ideologies. It encompasses committed Marxists who feel betrayed by their country's undemocratic expression of so-called socialism, but also Christians, liberals, and other ideologies that run counter to the state. It makes party officials very
Okay, now see, now he says it now. I get it now.
Will you try the new Neil.fun game?
Opposition group.
diverse ideologies. It encompasses committed Marxists who feel betrayed by their country's undemocratic expression of so-called
Committed Marxist. Chat. What is that? Is that like people who really like socialism and whatnot, right? Or communism? Karl Marx, the guy who said the thing on TikTok?
socialism, but also Christians, liberals, and other ideologies that run counter to the state. It makes party officials very nervous. What Templin doesn't know, Pavlitzak isn't here today because
Okay, socialism, but without authoritarianism. Have you been able to pull that off in the past?
2
he's
days until
interested
my
in
anniversary.
Hungarian
xQc,
history.
can I please
He's
get a
here solely to
congratulations? It would
spy
mean the
on
world to me.
Templin.
Thanks.
In fact, he's been reporting on him for more than 10 years. But Pavlitzak is not a full-time Stasi secret agent. He has a normal life and a normal job. He is what's called an unofficial collaborator. Basically, a citizen spy. No country in the 20th century devoted more resources to domestic surveillance than East Germany. By 1989, East Germany had a population of about 16 million citizens. That year, about 90,000 Stasi officers were on the payroll, about 1 secret policeman for about 177 people. A far higher ratio than the Soviet Union's secret police KGB or the Nazis' Gestapo. Beyond the absurdly bloated police apparatus, the network of unofficial collaborators was even more enormous. The country was absolutely crawling with amateur spies. Neighbors, co-workers, even kids discreetly betraying their own communities. Depending on the source, up to 200,000 unofficial collaborators supported the 90,000 official employees in spying on their citizens. At least one spy for every 60 citizens, possibly more. Many unofficial collaborators were enthusiastic volunteers who supported the Stasi for ideological reasons. Pawlicak says he joined at 17 for a sense of it.
Something Chan said, he said it became authoritarian, called themselves socialists, but it was really communism. True or false?
Venture and the hopes to maybe become an agent abroad. Some snitched for cash payments or career advancement. Others were manipulated, blackmailed, or coerced into becoming informants. There are many cases of family members spying on each other. One famous case had a husband reporting his wife's every move to the Stasi for years. She only found out later when she read in her file whispered conversations they had in bed and even details about her sex life. The network of unofficial collaborators created widespread mistrust and fear. In the Stasi's own words, the unofficial collaborators were the main weapon in the fight against the enemy.
The guy was probably mauled. Probably was getting mauled. He wasn't getting a pussy or whatever. And he thought she was cheating. So he kind of used that as a lever to get information about her or whatever. And to spy on her to get information. Because he was insecure. Because he's a bitch ass. He's a cuck. He's a cuck. He was probably jerking off to some of the communications that they were reporting about. Let's keep it a buck. Because he's a cuck lord. What?
Later this evening, Pawlicak walks home with another group member, Ibrahim
Historically,
Böhme.
it's pretty common.
On the way home, the unofficial collaborator had the opportunity to talk to Böhme, Ibrahim. The unofficial collaborator described
It says, man, you have to stop using cuck as an insult. Why? It's not an insult, it's just funny.
Böhme as an intelligent person with high moral independence.
That's an actual real cuck.
Pawlicak carefully remembers the conversation, eager to report it back to his officer. What he doesn't know is that Böhme is doing the exact same thing. Two spies, spying on each other, neither the wiser. Pawlicak will report on Böhme. Böhme will report on Pawlicak. Both will report on Templin. As it turns out, on this very evening, 4 out of 16 participants were working for the Stasi. But being all around Templin is not enough. You see, Templin was with the Stasi himself for a while when he was young. But after a while he confided in his friends, uneasy about the job. Ever since, he's been branded a traitor. And a while back, Stasi Captain Gerhard Haas started targeting him with the agency's ultimate weapon, an operational procedure. It's been a few weeks since the Initiative for Peace and Human Rights has formed. A man shows up out of nowhere at Templin's door, demanding to know where he should deliver the car. He's holding a contract with Templin's name and signature on it, for a car Templin never ordered, a very expensive car. Templin wouldn't be able to afford it even if he wanted to. He used to have a great job at the Academy of Sciences, until he was suddenly fired. The East German constitution grants every citizen the right to employment. Officially, there is no unemployment in the country, meaning there's no need for unemployment benefits either. Templin and his wife try to piece together a living with whatever odd jobs they can rustle up. Later, Templin's file confirms that the Stasi was systematically sabotaging his career. At first, Templin thinks this business with the car could be a misunderstanding. But later that evening, his door rings 2 more times. More delivery men with fake contracts. The next day, more calls, more knocks. In the following weeks, he'll receive mountains of mail.
Wait, real?
Dozens of strangers arrive with more unwanted deliveries. More cars, electronics, valuable antiques. Then it gets weirder. A cement mixer, kilos and kilos of parakeet food, tens of thousands of condoms, hundreds of live chickens. Wolfgang has to send them all away. Some threaten
3 free cars, thousands of chickens, condoms forever. I mean, dude.
To roughen him up. Many have traveled for hours to reach him, and all are expecting to get paid. It's stressful, and it gets in the way of his activism, which is, of course, exactly the point. And it's only the beginning. Time for the next stage of Templine's operational procedure. Haas is typing up an action plan. Main goals: isolating and discrediting Templine with respect to other initiators of political underground activity, personal destabilization and criminalization. It's a method developed by Mielke himself, codified as policy in Directive 1/76. According to his manual, the goal of an operative procedure should be to systematically.
Why is 76 such a common recurring number? Soldier 76, Vault 76, or whatever the fuck. It's
destroy the subject's
reverse that 6-7
reputation,
what's with
organize
6 and 7,
their professional
7 and 6?
downfall, and undermine their self-confidence. And third, create distrust and mutual suspicions within a group. And Mielke specifically motivates his agents to be creative, to feel free to ruin lives however they see fit. The ultimate aim was to break the spirit of rebellion.
You say conversion bias, okay? Find me 3 historical references to the number 70. 60, 61. Find me some about 53. I mean, you can't.
Individuals and groups so that they could no longer effectively rebel. But Templin knows the Stasi is hot on his heels. So against all obstacles, he steps up his activism even more. By December 1987, he's participating in actions nearly every day. The Stasi can't keep up. The opposition is strengthening. Civil rights activists are acting more and more openly, and Templin is in the middle of it all. So, the Stasi escalates. They get the unofficial collaborators to up the ante with smear campaigns to ruin Templin's reputation as an activist. They assign him to a spacious apartment with central heating.
Wait,
one that he...
Chat, this is exactly what it looks like when we played those games. Chat, you know when we played those horror games?
They assign him to...
Chat, how many horror games have I played that is in his exact room? Like 40.
To a spacious apartment with central heating. One that he, hardly scraping by, wouldn't normally be able to afford. The goal is to make people think he's getting paid off by the Stasi. And they're spreading false information that suggests he's betrayed the resistance. Then they come for his family. They plan to find an unofficial collaborator to seduce his wife Regina. Often the Stasi would deploy so-called Romeo agents, trained seducers to charm West German women who worked in government in order to extract intelligence. But the Stasi also weaponized seduction and rumors of infidelity to sow distrust and destabilize a dissident's family. But their plan doesn't pan out in this case. Either the Stasi never acted on their intention, or the assigned seducer wasn't very good at his job. Instead, Regina and Wolfgang are arrested. And after no trial or verdict, they're forced into temporary exile.
Right.
They're separated from their children, who, like the children of many dissidents, are
The room looked exactly like that.
snatched up and placed in a home. Anything to crack him. The Stasi called this Zersetzung, which means decomposition or breakdown. Every case was unique. The Stasi would use all the information gathered from excessive surveillance to harass its targets in a hyper-specific way. All those dull hours of surveillance enabled the Stasi to know exactly what would hurt a target most. For Templin, it was his family, his career, and his reputation as an activist. Some victims were simply made to feel crazy. A favorite tactic was for Stasi agents to sneak into a target's apartment and rearrange the furniture. But just slightly. Clocks were changed, fridges rearranged.
I gotta say,
just
I know this sounds kind of schizo, but it's not. I feel like people say, "Oh my God, this is crazy," but I think some of these efforts have been almost modernized, of course, right? But even on a more civilian level, like let's give people go on the internet, talk about some stuff, discuss. People don't. Oh, I don't like this person. They dox them, release information. The callers, swatters, they fuck with their mail. They send them pizzas. I mean, this is the exact same. It is the blueprint of those tactics.
Enough so that targets would start to question reality. Even many years after the wall fell, victims of Zersetzung demonstrate higher levels of extreme distrust and heart problems. Some died by suicide.
Jesus.
Exiled to West Germany, Wolfgang Templin and his wife Regina were still spied on and intimidated by Stasi agents. But they kept up their activism, still in close contact with dissidents back home. Leading human rights activists were also arrested. These arrests sparked a huge wave of protests. The people had enough.
Civil rights activists plan to use the event to demonstrate for more freedom.
Regina and Wolfgang's exile wasn't long. By November '89, the wall came down, and they hurried home to continue their political work, this time with an official seat at the table, to help rebuild East Germany with a democratic vision. After Germany's reunification, former GDR citizens were permitted to see their Stasi files, if they could stomach what was inside. Millions requested their files by the mid-90s, and many were shocked to see the names of their trusted friends and family members who had snitched on them. East Germany became known as a nation of traitors. And for many, this sense of broken trust was the deepest trauma left from the mass surveillance. Today, Germany is one of the most privacy-conscious countries in the world. East Germany had strikingly high levels of suicide and alcohol abuse. From 1949 to 1990, about 50% more East Germans took their own lives than West Germans. A complex issue, and to blame it solely on the political system is an oversimplification. Still, the emotional damage inflicted by the regime can't be ignored. After the German reunification, Erich Mielke was imprisoned for the murders of the two policemen in 1931. But he was never formally indicted for the crimes he committed as head of the Stasi. When he died, crowds celebrated. His grave was defaced within hours of his burial. After the fall of the GDR, he said, "Millions have died for nothing. Everything we fought for. It has all amounted to nothing."
Interesting. Interesting video.